I tell people almost every single day that they should start a SaaS company because I believe it is one of the greatest opportunities to build real wealth for yourself and not just a short-term cash flow play that's going to fizzle out after only a couple of months. And some of the biggest objections that I get from people when I suggest this to them is, oh, software is way too hard, or I don't have a giant budget for it, or I don't know how to code, I don't have an audience, and the list goes on and on and on. So I wanted to make this video exposing some of those limiting beliefs that you guys have around starting a software as a service and truly show you guys how this is the easiest time ever to start your own software company in 2023. So like the video and subscribe to the channel because I'm bringing you guys some of the best SaaS content there is out there, and I'm able to do so because I've actually sold to companies and I'm actively a part of other software companies now. A lot of the content that you guys see on here is just people that are making content solely for views, but they've never actually built and sold companies themselves like I have. So pay attention to what I'm saying here and let's finally dive into it. So there's 4 common myths that people have around starting a no-code SaaS, and in this video I'm going to break them down one by one for you, and by the end hopefully you're closer, if not convinced, on going off and starting your own software company. So myth number 1 is that people think you need to know how to code to build a software company. And obviously this used to be true, but this is no longer true because of the advancement in no-code building platforms. So to list off a few for you, there's bubble.io, make.com, software.io, flutterflow, and there's even more than that out there. And while I built my companies on Bubble, and yes, I paid a Bubble developer to do it, and that may not be attainable for all of you right now because Bubble is pretty complex to learn. It's a steep learning curve, but any of you can go on a platform like software.io and start building one today. If you've ever built a website on Webflow or anything like that, it is very similar. It is almost drag and drop and basically how to build software. So you just drag and drop blocks around. You can do, API integrations. You can easily connect to OpenAI. It is very straightforward and you can figure it out in a day. The second myth I want to talk about is people think you need a lot of capital. And again, this used to be true when you had to go and pay a bunch of developers, 30 grand just to get a minimum viable product out. But now you can either start with as little as a couple $100s if you want to do everything yourself. So if you want to build on Software, you might want to get a paid plan on Software. You might have to pay for a Zapier plan. You have to get your domain, your website, all in. You might be at like a couple $100. Or if you do have a little bit of a budget, compared to what it would cost in the past, pay 30 grand for a custom stack developer. Now you can pay a Bubble developer anywhere from 5 to 10 grand to basically build you a really, really good product. That's what I did. I started Closify with, I think 6 grand is what I paid for the first version to be built. And so still 6 grand is obviously a lot less money than 30. So the barrier to entry is a lot lower. So you really don't need as much capital to start a software company as you used to. Now, the third myth is that you need a big audience to be successful with software. And this couldn't be further from the truth. And the reason I think people believe this is because I talked about how Iman and Jordan Welch and Becker and all of these guys have pivoted to go all in on SaaS, and they all have giant audiences. But what you have to understand is if they only get customers from their audience, they're going to get a horrible multiplier on their exit because the software is reliant on their personal brand. So I started Closify without having an audience, and we got all of our customers through cold email, LinkedIn outbound, search engine optimization, a little bit of paid advertisements on Facebook. And so you do not need an audience to start a software. It can be helpful to get your initial clients and to get revenue in the door, but eventually, if you want to be a real company, you need to be getting customers from multiple different channels that are not reliant on your personal brand. So while I would still recommend you building your personal brand online, as I've been doing and it's helped me tremendously, you do not need to have a huge audience to start your software. So do not discourage you from starting just because you don't have a big audience online. And the fourth myth is that SaaS is the hardest business model to do. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's easy, but when I look at the other things that you guys are trying to do often, whether it's e-commerce, drop shipping, whether it's agency, everything is hard. Like if you want to make a lot of money, everything is going to be hard. And the problem with agencies is getting clients is easy. Guys, getting clients is honestly really easy. The reason agencies are hard is because no one can actually deliver good results for their clients. And so you have to get really, really good at whatever service you're fulfilling, which is hard to do. And with software, it's just a different type of hard. You have to build a really great product that people won't churn from. So It's a different type of hard. It's, you have to build a great product and you have to be constantly iterating based off of feedback from your users. But I would honestly argue that it's not that much more difficult than running an agency, and you're not dealing with clients. You're not dealing with the headaches of clients that are nagging at you. You are operating at a higher profit margin. And again, the software is the fulfillment. So it's a much more scalable model. And again, the other beautiful thing about software is you're building equity value this whole time that you're building the company. So when you're building an agency, most agencies are not built to sell. And even if you can sell it, you'll be lucky to get a 2 to 3x multiplier on profit, where your software is going to get a 5, 6, 7, 8x, or even possibly higher, depending on a lot of factors. So guys, if any of those reasons had discouraged you from getting into software, do not let them. Just think about how many business owners use so many different softwares on a regular basis, and you could be the one that are selling those softwares to them. That's what I did with Closify. People were paying for access to hire sales reps. It's more of a platform as a service. And I had Trackify. People were, paying to use our software to better track their sales team's performance. There are so many ideas that you guys can come up with that business owners will pay for. And now you can do it with less capital than ever, without an audience, without knowing how to code. So there's really no excuse for you to not dive into this opportunity in 2023 and to build a real sellable asset. So thanks for watching, guys. The next video is going to be a tutorial on how to connect OpenAI to Software. A lot of you guys wanted that video, so stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. But in the meantime, check out my newsletter. The link's in the description. I'm also hosting a completely free masterclass this week, so check that out as well. The link's in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next one.